Silence your cell phones. So, my name is Marcella Schulach, and I'm one of the editors of Family Resemblance, an anthology and exploration of 8 hybrid literary genres. And we have with us tonight 2 of the contributors to this anthology, Katie Cortez and Julio Ortega. And I'm also going to read Joy Layden's because she was called away at the last minute, but she meant to be here as well. So before we begin, though, with the contributors, I just wanted to read a small section from the introduction to explain what hybrid literature is as we envision it, and so what you might find in the anthology. Because the readers tonight are from flash fiction and the epistolary section, and there are 8 other sections here, which include all kinds of lyric memoir, poetic lyric essay, poetic memoir, pictures made of words, performative, and the short form nonfiction. So when we decided to create this book, here's what we were thinking. What is a literary genre but a family of works that resemble one another in style, form, technique, goal, or philosophy? A family resemblance defines a particular genre, and for this reason, genre can be viewed as an affiliation rather than a fixed point of identification. Within each affiliation, a critical mass of reproducible structural patterns overlap so that it becomes helpful or efficient to refer to individual representations as an affiliate of a single kind or type, which is what a genre is, kind or type. Genres have, at least since the age of print, been characterized according to whether the lines of words on a page consistently continue to the right margin, and that would be prose, or whether they consistently stop somewhere before the right margin, poetry. Before print, Plato characterized poetry by the overwhelming emotional effect of its rhythms, and Aristotle characterized literary genres by the presence of multiple speakers, that would be drama, or a single speaker but multiple perspectives, narrative, or a single perspective and/or speaker, which is what he called lyric. We can even catalog genre affiliations according to the kind of narratively significant time space operative in them, as Michal Batin does, or according to the relative strength of the main character compared to the world around him or her, or according to whether or not the character was portrayed as better, tragedy, or worse, comedy, than the average person. Genre also refers to the medium in which we create art: literary, plastic arts, dramatic arts, cinema, and so forth. So when we speak of hybrid literatures, we're speaking of individual works that do not replicate any previously existing pattern of literary affiliation, but rather they take features from multiple parents or multiple genres and mix them to create a new entity. Writers experiment and innovate, combining elements of traditional genres until they find a form that fits their story or subject. And interestingly, these innovative works actually take us deeper into literary heritages of the past because many incorporate forms that precede the main 4 genre distinctions that we recognize in literature today: poetry, fiction, nonfiction, and drama. Novels, novellas, scientific catalogs, literary criticisms, philosophy, history, news, myths, and magic spells, and religious incantations were historically carried from place to place in verse form, at least until the invention of the printing press and the spread of literacy. Now I'll leave you with one little cool thing about the words, and then we'll turn it over to the contributors. The main introduction to this book is written by Suzanne Paola Antonetta, who also, I guess she uses a pen name, but I think she's combined them here. She sometimes writes under Suzanne Paola and sometimes Suzanne Antonetta. She introduces this anthology by referencing the Sphinx, the creature that is half lion and half woman in the Greek version, or half woman and half man in the Egyptian version, which guarded the scene between the sacred and the secular, between the present and the eternal, the life now and the afterlife, because it was the entrance to the temple. What I would add is that the word Sphinx itself is a Greek corruption of the Egyptian term shesep-an, for living rock, rock that was there on the scene from the beginning, not harvested and brought in from elsewhere. We can think of hybridity as a local, organic, original, and living, and therefore mutable. And we can think of generic literary forms into which the hybrid has broken as simply genetic mutations. And so I guess this is a book of genetic mutations from the family form. So now, without further ado from me, I want to introduce our first contributor, Katie Cortez. And actually, let me get